And welcome to the Swiss round four of the PeaceBridge 2024 Overpower tournament in the amazing, beautiful Ontario, Canada. We've got with us for round four on the left, out of Ohio, Heroes and Games, Doug Sims, and Chris. I'm going to say his name wrong. With me commentating is David McMillan. Dave, do you know Chris's last name? It's
Which
Ven.
Veneri?
I should know this. Chris Vizina. That's what it is.
Zena, sorry.
Vizina. I got to get that down. Chris Vizina, because he's having a great day, and we're gonna see him more later. So Doug's playing an interesting deck. He's got three different eight stat characters: an eight strength, eight fighting, eight intellect. I think we can expect to see a lot of teamworks. Chris is playing the variation that Scott played of this energy deck out in Ohio. Scott was able to go undefeated in the Swiss at the Champ of Champs against the toughest overpower field we'd ever put together. Yeah. Dave, what do you think of this matchup that we're looking at right here?
Definitely going to be interesting. I think Doug, trains a lot, obviously, with Phil Miller, a very measured and cerebral, but also aggressive deck building. Chris is a wild card. Chris has been doing great at this PeaceBridge tournament and has a very aggressive deck himself. He's running that Inhuman Scarlet Witch stack, which makes it very challenging to get through your special cards. So once you get that royal family and that change outcome negate placed, it's a tough day at the office for decks that are relying on specials. But uh, you do see some traditional heat here on the left from Doug. We see some any power attacks, level 11 fighting for heroes for hire, and at 8 strength. So some big numbers that don't have any specials, really. So we'll see what happens. Going to be a great matchup.
For sure. So Chris does a lot of placing, but he's got some really low value cards out. Two fours, a three, and a one to Doug's 6, 7, 8, 11, and a beast lockout if it's not with a universe card. Chris does have a teamwork play, so he can get around the beast lockout a little bit, but I think we've seen from Doug's deck, he's not running the negate on beast. He's running the Holocaust negate, so he doesn't have his negate, but we can guarantee he's got that lockout.
Now, interestingly, it looks like Chris might have bet two, which again is very in line with his aggressive style of play. I think he did have a duplicate 8, so I think Doug has some things to think about.
Doug's been a great player. Doug was a very prolific player back in the day. I met him a number of times in the 90s. His son plays the game, great people. But Doug didn't really get back into Overpower when it first started to get popular. And then he sort of wasn't interested. And then he reluctantly agreed to play about three Ohios ago just to make sure we didn't have an odd number. Phil loaned him a deck. And did he win that tournament? Or he made it to the finals?
I think he made it
Whatever
to
it
the finals. That was he was running the White Queen deck, so he was
Yeah,
doing some JW pressure, and he had a great tournament then.
great tournament, got the bug, and now a kind of 0 to 100. He and Phil co-host a fantastic podcast. They talk about Overpower once a week and the current state and strategy, and now they've started to do Thursday night battles where they experiment with some new characters and just sort of jam some games like this with an audience of people talking on the commentary. And I love both, but I find myself tuning into the battles nights a lot because it's just I enjoy watching it. It's fun watching kind of in the group environment where everybody's like commenting and riffing. And yeah, it's really great having him back, and I'm glad him and his son have gotten so much back into it. It's also great to have a store like Heroes and Games be such a big supporter of the game still.
So it looks like we're off and running. A 7 any power attack against Inhumans, and Chris takes it.
That's interesting that he goes. A lot of times players will try to throw their cards from hand first. Doug's probably a little bit worried about the chains just because Chris doesn't have big numbers, but he's representing a lot of ability to chain attacks.
All right, we have the 3 ally from Scarlet Witch going on to heroes, locked with his 3 intellect. Now, interestingly, for anyone who doesn't know, he's following that up with a any character special. You can do that now since the Any Heroes Essentials pack was released. So these Any Hero specials no longer have the first icon. They can be chained like any other special.
All right, so he is now can make an additional attack, but Doug does have the ability to lock that out. It is when you follow up a universe card with another card, if it doesn't grant a direct bonus, it's not considered to be played with it. It's played as a follow-up to it. So any attack he makes here, he would be able to use the lockout. Chris decides not to do it, and Doug fires back with the 6 any power.
This is interesting because all of that's colorless damage, but when you get to 13 hits of cumulative damage, that's pretty early to take that much damage. But again,
And does
Chris
he
is
have
very
the
aggressive.
Is the JW what's placed on Heroes for Hire?
No, I believe it's the 11.
Okay.
I
Still
believe.
though, so Chris has got one card in hand. Now, the thing is, Chris could fire off that teamwork in the one,
Yeah.
but he Doug knows he can trade here. If Chris kills a guy with the teamwork in the one and then another attack, then he's going to be able to fire back with that 8 because he'll have used. And Chris does have the kill, so Chris could go 1, 2, 3 and kill Mr. Fantastic. He's got a 3 intellect in his hand, so we'll see what he does here. This is going to be interesting.
Oh, this is.
We'll see if he's got the avoid of fighting. He may actually do that here, fire back and get the kill, and there's nothing Chris is going to be able to do about it.
Now, is Chris thinking of changing the target? Because that would be
Yeah, I don't
interesting.
know why he would do that. Nope.
Nope.
All right, so hold on. What? Why?
Whoa,
Wait.
whoa,
Oh,
whoa,
hold
whoa,
on.
whoa. Oh, yeah, wait a minute, Doug.
Okay, Chris
He
is
has a
saying the
final
same thing.
follow-up.
Chris is saying the same thing.
Yeah, and he seemed too excited. Oh no,
Oh, why
Chris.
would you not? You know he's going to throw
Oh,
the 8, Chris.
oh man.
Well, the good news is this.
Oh, but
Oh
now he
no,
no, now he can lock out with that acrobatics. I think Chris, oh, well, he has that, but he might have really missed an opportunity there to get that KO on Mr. Fantastic. Oh,
what?
this is
What?
very interesting.
Why
So
would he?
so it looks like Doug committed to letting Mr. Fantastic die in favor of trading blows, which this is a very aggressive back and forth.
Well, hold on. Is it, Chris? Don't move your missions yet, Chris. Is he gonna throw like a 4 off beast?
He could, but
Did he just forget that he could lock out Mr. Fantastic there? I'm so confused as to what's
now
going
this
on.
we're in what, round 4, Joe?
Yeah.
This might be the beginning of a little bit of fatigue, or he might have a different deck building strategy than we're fully aware of, but not playing that Dark Beast, and then it just duplicated. It just really seems like
I
at
mean,
least playing
that
the 4 strength off of it to make Spawn painted 2 colors in 15, that would have been the play.
like if he
It
was gonna sacrifice him, but then he did that, I would understand. So Chris has got his lockout place, the new Cataclysm Fairy protection. That is one of the alternatives to Dow. If you play any heroes, Dow is no longer legal. The Devourer of Worlds special has been retired. You can choose from a number of cataclysms. This one is an avoid one attack, may not be attacked, and then you can't play the other ones. So Chris is playing some heat, but Doug's doing exactly what we said. He's got the teamworks for days over here.
Yeah, he does. He has a lot of heat there. Now he did place or either come up with the Silver Sable 9 or less, so that's more or less a dead card for the purposes of counting actions, because assuming that Chris isn't doing anything that's galaxy brained here, it's going to
Wow.
be attacks at Silver Sable. So that
He
leaves.
goes he still goes two, even though Chris has the ability to lock out. I mean, Chris only has 5 cards. He did dupe. Doug's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I guess Doug does have the only universe. So maybe that was Doug's thought. Look, maybe Doug's just operating on a different level right now. He can
Yeah.
use the only universe now to lock out Silver Sable, and he can force Chris to have to throw into the locket to the teammate avoid. So right now,
Now,
Doug's actually in a great position.
along those lines, Doug's build, he might only have for Mr. Fantastic the draw 3, the pin, and the 7 for all we know, and
Well,
maybe
we know he
one
has at
nonetheless.
least one teammate avoid because he just used it, or he just
But
discarded it this hand.
but knowing that he doesn't, it's not a teammate avoid shell deck, he might have just put one in and uses the acrobatics to force people into it occasionally.
Yeah.
And so maybe Mr. Fantastic just isn't a large part of the build. He's just providing that diverse power grid and a few bomb specials. So this is very interesting.
So Chris thought about that for a while. He decides to burn the spell of protection from Strange, and then that's going to have to be a strength follow up because I don't believe Heroes for Hire is smart enough to throw the 5 as an intellect. But that would
Yes.
still leave the intellect attack open from Silver Sable, which should come through as an 8. Chris only has one card in hand, so
Now this isn't for game point, is it?
no, Doug only went 2. All right, so
Okay.
he took the 5. He fires the 6 through as an 8. And this is often what you see if people have the lockout. They let 2 of the hits hit, they
Looks
lock
like
out when the kill comes.
looks like he's about to select the slain and do look at what 5 cards from the top of draw pile, and then reveal and select one to put into his hand.
And it can be duplicate or it can't be.
It cannot be duplicate, I believe.
But you do have to reveal it.
You do have to reveal. Now, looking from what we see here, I see a number of energy power cards, which might not be very helpful to his cause.
Well, he can't take the 7. He could take the 6. I didn't see what he put down.
He took a
He
confusion. Now that actually,
Interesting. I don't
now
hate
that,
that.
yeah, I mean that does slow Doug down now.
And he can
So
use it offensively to pace out if he needs to too. He
that's
can
true.
Doug doesn't have to throw the teamwork, but Chris can just say, "Cool, I don't want to see the teamwork next battle." Especially because, again, if he gets to the point where he's got a 9 or less from spawn, and if Doug draws a strength follow up, he can throw the 8 as the second attack off the teamwork for a 10.
That's right. So now I think Doug has some food for thought. Chris is certainly not making it easy on him because if he does use the teamwork, Chris will use the confusion. Anything else, Chris can lock out and then offensively use that confusion, as you aptly noted. So while I do think Doug takes the battle, yeah, and I think that makes sense that he would do
Yeah,
that.
I mean, you're putting Chris at like Chris has already lost the venture. Like he's Doug can only universe it and then force him into the teammate avoid. He can even throw the 8 at that point and get it locked out, and he's still winning the venture by 11.
I give Chris a lot of credit. I think he's playing this just about as well as you can.
Yeah, I mean he's taken some damage, but what he's doing for newer players that's a little bit deceptive is he's gonna lose this venture, he's gonna use his cards, but he's also mitigated a enormous placing advantage that Doug had so that he can go into the next battle and he can fight him on relatively even terms.
In
Oh,
fact, if he
interesting.
just
I kind of like that play too. Chris opts to pass with the placed 8 and not chew up the Sable avoid. I really like that play too.
yeah. So I mean now Chris is actually ahead by an action. So I mean that's expert level play. Chris is playing at a high level right now.
Yeah, that was a very good play. I wasn't even thinking of that. Doug also gets 3 duplicates. That's tough.
And you know what else? Having Scarlet Witch have 2 icons, you don't want to lose your negate, but you do have that -5 venture inherent. So he does have that inherent protection that if Doug goes for the win, he's not going to want to trigger that. So Chris has bought himself some time.
That Madame Gao, what a powerful card. So, um,
Oop, late
I
duplicate. I
think it
think that
was a
might have been.
duplicate negate.
Yeah. Looks like Doug is counting his actions. He's thinking, but I don't think he is in a position after that number of duplicates to really take this one home.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know why you would do that, but maybe it gets rid of the teammate avoid. It can get rid of the. I guess he
He
can
can get Madame
negate.
Gal.
He can get the Beyonder if he needs to. Also,
That's true. And if he's only playing one of the spontaneous combustion, opponent discard one special.
So
Uh,
he's trying to do the Madame Gao. Chris has got the negate in hand.
wow. What?
Whoa.
Does he not have the negate? Maybe we thought the
No, he
spontaneous
has the
combustion.
negate in his hand. I don't know why he would do that.
Wait, I want him to flash his cards again so we can see.
He's definitely got the negate. It's the card right on the right.
Wow.
I think it's just a big misplay.
Now, Chris has a great tournament, so um, I'm not one to question what he's doing
Yeah,
because
we don't know, but
certainly
this
I
is
went
only
three and
this is
four.
only round 4, so we'll see how he does for, we are recording this after, but we'll see for everyone watching in order. We'll see how Chris does for the rest of the day.
Hmm. If we are correct and that is the negate, that is such
It's just a mistake is what it
a,
is.
a brutal misplay. And, that happens to us all, but you hate to see it. I mean, Chris masterfully played that last battle to not only clear Doug's placement advantage, but to come into this battle with the one card placement advantage with the 8 power card. And to if he had that negate and missed it, that's just a tough one. So Spawn has 16 damage, all fighting, but you hate to be at 16. Now I'm surprised that he chose heroes as the target, and Doug didn't use the 9 or less from Sable. He had the negate.
He had the negate. I don't
Wow. That is such an interesting game to watch because there were so many swings back and forth,
Yeah, for
and both
sure.
guys played really great, but that really comes down to just a big misplay at a critical time where negating the Madame Gao, I'm pretty sure that Chris wins that battle. And even at the end, the 4 multi, uh, I'm not sure why the target was heroes, but, you know, sometimes it happens to the best of us. Sometimes you get flustered in a game that a certain play happens and it doesn't go the way that you think it goes. And sometimes you might just miss something. So hats off to both players. Good match. Just
Yeah,
would love to
great.
have seen that one play happen.
Mm, But that's it. Just goes to show you, just one play can really swing a game. So, all right, guys, that was round 4. Nice short match. And thanks for joining us. Stick around for round 5. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for being with us, Dave.
Thanks. Overpower lives.
Overpower lives.